All right, welcome back to the show here. Oil to 147 we went. If it wasn't for Fannie and Freddie, this would be the conversation we would have led with and be having all hour long. So let's cut to it. Matt Simmons, one of the energy investment bankers, one of the preeminent energy investment bankers, and for that matter, strategist on energy in the world today. Joe Terranova, chief alternative strategist at Phoenix Investment Partners, joins us, also a member of the Fast Money crew. Joe, with the shorter term view of, and Matt, of course, the longer term view. I will begin with you, Mr. Simmons. Your thoughts on where oil is, its the rationale of the price, whether it's even worth debating as much in its direction over the next 6 to 12 months, in your view.
You know, I'm just flabbergasted about all the misinformation going around in the last few weeks, when oil prices have finally started to catch everybody's attention. And, you know, we're wasting so much time going on a witch hunt trying to find out who got the prices so high. What we ought to be doing is doing our homework for what we didn't learn in the last decade, the fact that we were giving oil away, and it's still cheap, and it's going to go higher. It might go way higher.
So define way higher, and what would you have? What would be the biggest, if you were in charge, if you were the energy czar in this country, what would you do?
Well, you need to be energy czar in the world to make an impact, and we don't have that.
I anoint you as such.
Okay. What I would do is I would put a floor under oil prices today, and as soon as they go higher, I'd put a new floor to make sure that everyone has the confidence that this is not going to collapse, because it's not going to collapse. But if everyone thinks it's going to collapse, we won't do any of the steps to get out of this enormous hole we're in.
So the biggest problem you're saying is that right now the false belief that this is a temporary energy spike.
Yeah, it's terrible. The idea it's a bubble, or that it's just speculators, or that basically OPEC is holding 2 or 3 or 4 million barrels a day off the market. This is all poppycock.
Joe, you have been short-term very good with oil. First of all, do you agree with Mr. Simmons that we need to come to terms with the fact that this is the new long-term price for oil, if not something higher than this?
Well, the question that I have is how much of a gridlock premium does he believe is in the market?
What does that question mean?
What I mean by that is the lack of a decision. Drill, not drill. Release from the SPR, SPR, no. What do we do, speculators or not? It seems like we have no course of action here governmentally, and I would just ask Mr. Simmons, does he view that there is that premium in the marketplace on price?
No, I think actually, ironically, there's probably the prices are lower than they would be because there are an awful lot of people that believe oil prices are coming down, and therefore they're shorting the oil contract.
So you think that the speculation about a decline in oil prices is well in excess of anything that Joe just talked. Why are you making that face, Joe?
I think earlier this week we saw that the marketplace was clearly short, and that was the reason we went up over the last couple of days, no doubt about it. Take Nigeria, Iran, that's been in the market. It was a market that was short and got turned the wrong way. So I agree with that, but I'll let him go further.
Yeah, all right, so carry on, Matt.
Well, I think that it would be wonderful if 15 years ago or 20 years ago, when I was strongly advocating as loudly as I could that we should open up all of the outer continental shelf in North America and go on the most intensive seismic shoot paid for by the government, so when seismic rates were almost free, and then go on a very intensive exploration program to test the structures and see what might be there so we could at least have an inventory. We didn't do that. Now we basically are out of drilling rigs. And so we could open up all this stuff, and it wouldn't make a whit of difference for another decade or two. So it's one of these should have done, could have done, might have done, but we didn't.
What will be done, in your opinion? What do you think actually is forget what you think should be done, is the probable scenario for energy in America over the next 6 months and then over the next 6 years, for that matter, 10 years even?
I think, unfortunately, the probable scenario is that we're going to basically keep dropping our inventories and feeling good about it, hoping that basically that'll bring around a price collapse, assuming that might be actually demand declining when it's not, and then we're going to have a shortage. And if we have a shortage, we'll have a run on the bank so fast your eyes will spin. This is basically where everyone tops up their tank. And we haven't run out of oil, but we could literally run out of usable diesel and gasoline, and then we would have the great American disaster because within a week we'd run out of food.
We thought that we were getting a hard time on our Fannie and Freddie conversation, Matt. I'm suddenly wishing that we were discussing Fannie and Freddie. Do you have any reason to have confidence that anyone in government or in the private sector can avert the horrendous scenario that you offer up?
Yeah, I think if we basically had a big wake-up call and Monday morning we all agreed that we would stop ever talking about, let's go back to low prices, and we said let's basically, take a lockstep and make a hasty retreat from our heavy addiction to oil and gas use because we don't have enough, and we start living in villages again, and we go back to we eliminate long distance commuting by liberating the workforce and paying by productivity and growing food locally, and we start embracing an enormous amount of R&D into some things we're not really doing much about today, like ocean energy and geothermal. Then we could actually, within 5 to 7 years, get ourselves out of a very deep hole, but we got to do it real quick.
This is our wake-up call, as it were.
Yeah, but you know what? Unfortunately, we're not having a wake-up call. We're having a witch hunt for who got us here.
Yeah, Joe, you get the last word.
Well, just from a trading standpoint,
sure.
And that's where I want to go with this.
Yeah.
Commodities are cyclical. Look what's going on in natural gas right now. June highs always equal July lows. Keep that in mind. Look at what went on this week in oil. You had the roll. The market got caught short, turned around, moved higher. It now points towards expiration. But at the end of the day, I think stay in the energy space. Look at the integrated names. We've spoken about Suncor beginning to rise. Next week, I myself will take a look at the refiners. They are ridiculously cheap. And at the end of the day, I brought this to my friend Jeffrey. He's 100% right. Use your crayons.
They work.
They work.
In the short term, they do work. Mr. Simmons, thank you for the time. We look forward to having you back sooner rather than later. Again, the bottom line from him, wake up, America, on energy. Stop the witch hunt and start looking for solutions individually and collectively.